you are already here at the Goose and you are presenting, and then I think like a lot of things that we've had to do during Pandemic 1.0, Pandemic 2.0, we're pivoting, we're substituting, we're pitch hitting for. So in addition to your workshop, you're also now the Sunday morning preacher.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I am, which is interesting, for
Yeah.
me. I was talking to people. I'll talk about my experience.
Yes, please.
I was talking to my sister last night, and I was telling her I'm so tired. I feel my body's exhausted. She was like, "What did you do? Like, what did you have to do?" So I was explaining. I had a couple conversations.
Yeah.
I was like, "Nothing too wild," and I said, "But this is the thing. I am in a very white space, and."
Yeah,
My
I'm
body,
Exhibit A for this man.
and my body, even though I am safe,
Yeah.
like I know I'm safe. I was invited
Yeah.
here. I know I'm safe. My body doesn't know that because of the experiences that I have
Sure,
had. Because
sure.
I am in a white space. I'm in a very American space
Yeah.
in the middle of North Carolina.
Yeah, in the woods
as an
of North
immigrant,
Carolina.
right?
Yeah.
And so my body and my nervous system is on high alert all the time, scanning rooms, scanning spaces, making sure, are you safe? Are you safe? Look at everything. And so I was in a conversation yesterday, and I said, I know exactly how many people of color are in this room right now. I counted them. And so I'm interested to see how my body responds, talking to the entire Goose,
Right.
and saying, okay, I'm going to talk to all of you. And I mean, if you know anything about my work is all the time surrounded about supremacy, oppression,
Sure.
and liberation.
Sure.
Because that's what I speak about.
Yeah.
Theology is a tool for liberation and
Yeah.
a weapon of oppression, both.
Yeah.
And so making that differentiation is so important to me.
Yeah.
And so talking about that in a room full of white bodies, in the woods, in the middle of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I want to see how my body responds to that. But
Yeah.
I'm also excited to continue to lean into that.
Yeah.
Because if we don't lean into one another, then we continue to run away from each other.
I think that's such an important point, because we can mentally and even emotionally process all of that and maybe get to, like you said, you gave me a whole bunch of caveats.
Yeah.
Of, I know I'm safe, I know I'm invited here, and yet your body is telling you, be
Wait.
on guard.
Yes, be on guard. And I was talking to Semler about this, Grace Baldridge.
Grace Baldridge, amazing artist.
We were sitting down having coffee, and she said, because this is a Christian space,
Yeah.
and because all of us are carrying all of these religious trauma with us still. We've been healing, we're aware of it, sure, but still our nervous system is so aware of it. She said, I keep waiting for the shoe to drop. I keep waiting for the the bait and switch.
Yeah.
And I was like, me too, in different ways,
Yeah.
but also yes. And she's like, because I'm a queer artist, and I keep waiting, like, are they going to switch it on me? And I think that being mindful and aware, I talked about it a little bit yesterday about safety, being mindful and aware that there are some identities that even though we cognitively know you are safe here, like I don't know what, you're safe, their nervous system doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And so being aware of that, like I know what identities are not safe in my presence, and I am aware of that, I'm mindful.
Right. Yeah, and I come at this as a cishet white guy, born and raised in America, middle to upper class, so I don't know what being not safe feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taught that there are places where I'm not supposed to feel safe, and my experience has been that's a lie.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, so not having known that, my sense is that part of that experience of what you're talking about and that you and Semler share in that regard is like being told, oh, well, you shouldn't feel that way.
Yes.
And
like
so,
I can control my nervous system.
Right, that, and also being taught not to trust your body.
Exactly, and being asked to dissociate, which is what we are asked inside of supremacy culture. We are asked in supremacy culture, dissociate from your body. Like, don't listen to your emotions. Don't listen. And I mean, Christian supremacy teaches that a lot, right? Don't listen to your emotions. Don't trust your body. Dissociate
it's mind
all the time.
And spirit. Mind and body. Spirit and body. Yeah.
But my body is communicating something, and the best thing that I can do is pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Even if I am like, no, I'm safe, I can just tell my body, like, I know why you feel unsafe. Totally fair. It's absolutely right. Perhaps you need more naps during this trip.
Right.
And also, it's fine. Like, let's breathe through these. And you know what? It's an excellent exercise because privileged identities, when they are confronted with their privilege, often feel their nervous system respond to.
Yeah, I talk about it as like feeling the hair stand up, like getting my
Yes.
hackles up. That
Yes. And I explained these at another place. There are two things that I've learned about the brain and the nervous system. And one of them is the backfire effect. And so when somebody is confronted with information about themselves or information about the world that contradicts very deep held beliefs, your brain and your nervous system take that in the same way that they would if a bear is attacking you.
Wow.
So your systematic nervous system immediately gets activated, and you start trying to defend, and you double down on the belief.
Wow.
So when you're having conversations with evangelicals about things that they have held for so long, and instead of recognizing like, wow, your nervous system is completely shot, and respecting that and seeing the human on the other side too, and being like, I recognize that your nervous system shut down your brain. Let's take a 5-minute walk, let's take a 10-minute walk, let's come back again to this conversation. But if I go, you just don't want to understand, then they are going to actually double down on that belief. And that's one. The other one is the reticular activating system that filters beliefs. So any belief that comes and challenges something that you have always agreed with, that you think is absolute truth, your reticular activity system is going to filter it out. They can't even hear. It's not until it becomes personal. That's why proximity matters. That's why sitting with the other and saying, I want to hear your experience matters, and recognizing neuroscience and neurobiology, if we know it and if we recognize it in our body, we can say, I'm completely activated right now. I stopped listening to you 100%. This is not a conversation anymore. I'm just trying to defend myself. Let's take a 10-minute walk. I do that with my children, you know, where I feel activated and I'm like, anything I do right now, it's going to be punitive. So let's take a 10-minute walk. Let's just breathe.
I don't know why, but I'm feeling this very much right now as a parent. Like, I need to do that, right? Because, and then also the way that taps into parental culture and this idea of, well, I'm the authority, and anything you say
supremacy culture is all over parenting.
Yes.
The most marginalized people in the world are children. The most marginalized identity in the world are children. And if we know anything about intersectionality, a black, poor child is the most marginalized identity in the world.
I have a good friend, and we joke about how we have learned to teach our children to be able to advocate for themselves. You know, it comes down to simple things like, if I'm tickling my child and my child says stop, it's play, but I need to respect his agency and stop. And the end result of that is that they understand that they have agency in every moment, which is exhausting as a parent.
Parenting that way is so hard. I was telling the story.
But I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, because that's exactly how we break cycles from the get-go. I was talking to a group of people a couple of days ago, and I was telling them that I am so intense with my children about autonomy and agency because I was robbed of it growing up. I was robbed, not because my mom was bad and my dad was bad, because they didn't have the tools to do it any other way. But my daughter, because I talk about it so much and we conversate about it so much and we give them so much autonomy and agency, and my kids are getting older. My 7-year-old, I was like, guys, it's time to go to bed. I'm so tired. And that was the thing. I was tired. It was about me. I was like, I'm so tired. You have to go to bed. You have to go to bed. My 7-year-old looks at me and goes, you tell me that my body is my own. And I'm not tired.
Wow.
Why do I have to go to bed? Damn it.
And then you have to take a 10-minute walk. And
I said, you know what, you're absolutely right, babe. You don't have to go to bed. You don't have to go to bed. And that's hard because they tell you they have to have bedtimes and they have to eat at certain times and they have to eat certain things and they have to have sweaters when it's cold, but they don't want the sweaters. And they don't want the food and they don't want to go to bed. And if we instead show certain boundaries, so what I said is you absolutely don't have to go to bed, but the rest of us who are tired, you cannot wake us up either. So can we respect each other? You can stay up, but please be mindful of the rest of us who are tired. In 5 minutes she was asleep because she was bored because the rest of us fell asleep too.
Everybody else was out.
But having those and giving room for kids to say, you know what, you have agency, and we are a team of people that live together, a community. Our family is a community, and all of us have power in this community. I just happen to have different tools than you because I've lived longer. But I'm not better, and I don't know better. And that changes everything.
That's amazing. And I really appreciate all of this at the level of embodiment, because I feel like embodiment and faith is what I have been learning so much from in the past, I would say really 5 years, and it's probably more than that. When we're talking about gender identity and sexuality and Black Lives Matter and the impact of supremacy culture on brown lives and immigrant lives and everything else, it's learning again to trust our bodies as the place where God resides.
Right. That's why it's so important. talk about theology as a weapon of oppression or a tool of liberation. And I was in school getting my master's degree, and a professor who does a lot of missional work, and by missional I mean he's very intense about the church should be changing communities. That's mission. He asked the question, he said, if your church were to disappear like that, if I just snap my fingers, the church disappears, would the community, like the immediate community, be better, worse, or it wouldn't even notice?
Wouldn't even notice, yeah.
But then I want to take that even further. If you disappear, would your immediate community be better, worse, or not notice?
Wow.
Your immediate community. Do I make my immediate... I'm talking about my neighbors, I'm talking about my children. Would my children be like, oh, that's kind of good? Because I'm telling you, as a child, I would have probably felt some relief. Because I was so oppressed as a child. You have to do this, you have to behave these ways, you have to, you have to. I was sharing yesterday that I know still to this day the sound of my mom's shoes. I can hear the sound of my mom's shoes. Because my sister and I became so attuned to her because we were so afraid.
That's when
so I am hyper aware of bodies, hyper aware, and that's a trauma response. I'm hyper aware. I see all of the movements. I see everything everybody's doing as a trauma response.
It's a survival tool.
So if our theology is not making us those people that are like, I'm so glad you're in my space, I'm so glad you're here, you make my world better, then our theology is just a weapon of oppression, or is useless, it's nothing, it's just a theological conversation, it's just a philosophical conversation. But for those oppressed, philosophical conversations are almost a slap in the face, because you're having philosophical conversations and I'm dying here. So I take it a step further. If our bodies are, and people were able to be honest, disappear just like that, like Thanos, would some people be relieved? Because we are oppressive. And for some politicians, I'd be relieved.
I hear you. Well, I appreciate this embodied time together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.